Hey there, and welcome. Today, we are getting into a force of nature that we all know, but maybe don't really understand. Lightning. We know it's dangerous, of course, but the way it actually affects the human body, well, it's packed with surprises. And knowing those surprises could, and I mean this, literally be the difference between life and death. So let's jump right in.
Okay, right off the bat, let's start with a question. Take a look at these 4 statements about lightning injuries. Now, only one of them is actually true. Got a hunch which one it is? Don't sweat it if you're not sure. We're about to strike down some pretty common myths to get to the real electrifying truth.
The best way to find the right answer here is to figure out why the other options are wrong. Each myth we bust is going to reveal something really fascinating about what a lightning strike is actually doing to the body. So first up, let's talk about the nature of lightning itself.
So, when you think of an electrical injury, you probably picture some pretty severe burns, right? Well, with lightning, that's really not the whole story. It's not even the main one. The physics behind lightning strike are just on another level.
Just to give you a sense of scale, a single bolt of lightning can carry up to 100 million volts of electricity. That is a mind-boggling amount of energy. But what's truly unique isn't just how much power there is, it's all about how that power gets delivered.
And this slide gets right to the heart of why option D is completely wrong. You see, the power in our homes is alternating current, or AC. It's sustained, which is what causes those deep, terrible electrical burns. But lightning? It's a massive, massive pulse of direct current, DC, and the whole event is over in just a few milliseconds. It's an unbelievably brief, yet overwhelmingly powerful punch of energy.
And because all of that energy gets delivered so incredibly fast, it creates a huge concussive force. It literally acts more like a physical explosion than a sustained electrical shock. This is why you see injuries you'd expect from a blast, like ruptured eardrums or damage to air-filled organs. And that really starts to make a strong case for statement C, doesn't it?
Okay, so we've established it's more of a blast than a burn. But what does that insane DC shock do to our body's own electrical system? Specifically, the heart. This is where we can tackle option A.
That massive jolt of DC is like hitting the emergency shutoff for the heart. It depolarizes the entire heart muscle all at once, which causes it to just stop. That state is called asystole. But, and this is the amazing part, because the heart muscle itself isn't necessarily fried, its own natural pacemaker often has the ability to kick back in and restart a normal rhythm, all on its own. It's like a system reboot. So what this means is that asystole from a lightning strike is absolutely not a guaranteed death sentence. Actually, it often responds really well to CPR, which can keep oxygen flowing to the brain just long enough for the heart's own pacemaker to reboot itself. That means option A, which says the condition is intractable and doesn't respond to CPR, totally false.
All right, let's look at option B. This one really just comes down to a classic case of mistaken identity. We've got 2 substances with super similar names, but they do very different things in the body.
So when muscle tissue gets damaged from the intense trauma of a lightning strike, it releases a protein called myoglobin. And it's absolutely true that a flood of myoglobin can be really, really bad for your kidneys. But the statement in our quiz mentioned methemoglobin, and that's a completely different thing. It's a type of hemoglobin that can't carry oxygen, and it's usually caused by toxins or drugs, not physical trauma. So yeah, lightning can cause kidney damage because of myoglobin, but the statement mentioned methemoglobin, and that makes it incorrect.
And just like that, there we have it. We've gone through the other options and busted the myths. The immense power, the super short duration, and the fact that it's direct current all mean a lightning strike's effects are much more like a blast injury than a typical electrical burn. The correct answer is C.
So who cares, right? Why does all this matter? Well, it is so much more than just a cool piece of trivia. Understanding these details leads to one of the most counterintuitive and most critical life-saving principles in all of emergency medicine. In pretty much any other disaster scenario, a patient with no pulse and who isn't breathing is considered the lowest priority. They're often tagged as deceased. But as this quote shows, when it comes to a lightning strike, you have to flip that rule completely on its head.
This is a real protocol, and it's called reverse triage. It's used specifically for lightning strikes where there are multiple victims, and it commands first responders to prioritize the victims who look like they're already gone, the ones who are in cardiac and respiratory arrest.
And here's why this totally backward-sounding idea works. As we just learned, the heart is usually just stunned, not permanently destroyed, and it can often be restarted. The problem is, the brain's respiratory center can stay paralyzed for longer. So simple CPR can keep the victim breathing and their blood flowing until their own systems can come back online. Meanwhile, the victims who are awake and moving around, well, they're probably terrified and injured, but they've passed that initial critical phase and are far less likely to suddenly die.
So if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. In a mass casualty lightning strike, the victim who looks the absolute worst, the one who is still, silent, and seems to be gone, might actually be the person you are most likely to save.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. It goes against every single human instinct, doesn't it? But understanding the science behind the shock, that it's a blast, not a burn, and that the heart is just waiting for a reboot, completely changes how we should respond. It's just a powerful reminder that sometimes having the right knowledge leads to the most unexpected and the most life-saving actions. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.